Alright. What is up, chat? What is up? What is up? Turn myself down a little bit here. Alright, what up, chat? I'm now done messing around with my setup. So wait for some folks to join here. Hopefully you guys are having a good Monday. We got some Zards to clean today. Junior, what's up? I'm actually going to change this just a slight bit here so I can actually read your guys' stuff. Outdoor, Mikey, what's up? What's up? Just so I can see what I'm kind of doing here. Element, Nos, what's up? What's up? Eric, I am on TikTok as well, my friend. I just went online. Mr. Hoppers, welcome. Eric, welcome again. So we got a lot of big things to do today, chat. A lot of big things to do today. Ugh. Raquel, what's going on? How are you guys doing tonight? Hopefully you guys are having a good Wednesday. I always say that. Monday. Hope you guys are having a good Monday. Thank you for liking the live, guys. Alright, so I think I should be pretty good to go here. So I'll wait for you guys to kind of come in a little bit. I think I'll do a little kind of chat in the beginning, and then since these are two very big cards, I might have to, as the kids say, lock in for a little bit and not really engage with you guys too much, but kind of talk through the process that I'm working on. So getting my handful of Q-tips ready here. How long have you been streaming on TikTok? I've been streaming on TikTok for probably like 3 years, 2 or 3 years at this point, like around 2023, either the beginning of 2023 or the mid. Let's see. So I'm going to be doing some just standard card cleaning. How long grading cards? Since 2017. Since 2017. Alright, guys. So I think we're just going to kind of kick into it here. I'm just going to adjust my setup a little bit so I can talk with you guys and see what I'm doing at the same time, because I have a phone in front of my face. So it's a little bit hard to try to do this here. I'm gonna try maybe like trying to get a good angle here. Probably right there is probably gonna be the best angle that I can get for you guys. Beautiful. All right. So welcome in, guys. See, I haven't seen that PFP in a minute, CX. Rin, welcome. So, yeah, if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Galaxy Gaming, and tonight I have two big cards to clean. So, the first one is this Bandai Charizard. Hopefully zoom in there. So, first going to be that. We're going to kind of take a look at it together. Kind of talk out loud the things that I'm looking at. CX, thanks for following the live. Appreciate you. Surprised there's still Ice Poseidon fans out there, but here we are. So we got that one. And then the other one is we're going to be using the old snips here to fix up this Shining Charizard, assessed as a CGC 75. So a friend of mine met up with me at a show a few weekends ago, and we are going to do our best to see if we can improve, if I can zoom in, that surface score. There was some stuff on the back that we saw, kind of looking through the case, that we could possibly take a look at, but it was a little bit difficult to really see it in the case. So we're gonna give you the old crackaroony. You do card fixes? Yeah, so I do a little bit. Right now, I currently have it on pause because there's some new techniques that I am practicing myself to try to offer some better services to you guys. So it involves some new tools, but that will kind of come out here soon on what I'm doing. Austin, thanks for following the live. Appreciate you. You think it's worth cracking a BGS 9.5 to, I'm assuming you're talking about to submit to PSA. Just don't fall victim to the belief that it will auto 10, because that's not a guarantee. So just kind of keep that in mind. I know a lot of people kind of suggest that, but it's not. They're not 1-in-1. So if you're trying to think about it to crack as a PSA 10, just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. That might not be the best play in the world. So, all right, guys. Well, we're just going to get right into it. So, I might have some instances here where I'm just kind of talking to myself and not reading chat, because the main reason is I want to try to spend a good amount of time and focus on trying to really highlight what I'm looking at in real time. So if I don't talk to you guys or anything like that, it's not that I don't appreciate you talking. It's just that I'm trying to really kind of stay focused. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind as I kind of go through this. Is grading for PSA much harder now with centering? As long as you just measure it beforehand, it's really not that difficult. I mean, it makes it harder, but it doesn't make it more... doesn't make it harder as long as you know what you're looking for, if that makes sense. All right, so we're going to do one of these bad boys, I think. Let's see. Nope. Never mind. All right, so I'm just going to turn my music down. It's like super loud on my end. I can like barely hear myself talk. Okay, so we are going to first adjust the stream here just to make it a little bit easier to kind of see what I'm doing here. So apologies for shifting this around. I want to be able to make sure that I can see the card and talk to you guys at the same time. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Trying to do this live is always a pain, but we're getting there. Okay, we're gonna lift that up a little bit. This whole setup's kind of like falling down. There we go. Perfect. All right, guys. So hopefully you guys can still hear me on TikTok. So we are just going to kind of go over this live. So we got the Charizard Bandai. So this was a service that a community member has reached out for our card cleaning service. So this is the premium tier. So we're going to basically break this down as much as we possibly can. So we're obviously going to take it out of the sleeve and all that came into it. And so we're going to kind of review it in each step. So again, as a reminder, if this is your first time kind of seeing a card cleaning service or stream, basically the goal for what I like to focus on is just to see if we can do any improvements on the card first with the microscope, and then if there's anything that we need to go through the humidor, that'll be off stream, because humidor techniques typically take around 1 to 5 days. This one, after first look, it doesn't seem like it's going to take that long if a humidor is needed, but that will be off stream because I can't just, that'll be like watching paint dry. So we're going to look at the front, we're going to look at the back, and first off, we're going to try to see if you can kind of see that centering. So the 4 main grading criteria are centering, corners, edges, and surface. So that's what we're looking at today for those of you who are watching me on YouTube and Twitch. So that's the front of that bad boy. And so the centering is looking to be a little bit, for this one, it might be a little bit thicker on that left side than the right, but we'll measure it here. And then the back, obviously, there's really no big borders, but we're going to take a look under the microscope. So we're going to put it on. So I have these little soft pads that I always put my cards onto when we're looking at these cards. So it's some of the tools that you're going to be seeing me use today. So first off is this is just a mixture of distilled water. Nothing else. There's really nothing in most cases you really need. Next, I like to use two specific types of Q-tips. One that's a pointed edge, and then one with more of like a rougher edge. And then if I need to, I have another kind of cleaning tip, just in case if I need it for a little bit more kind of surface area. The other one that I always talk about is a microfiber cloth. It's no different than what you use to clean your glasses with, stuff like that, so not too bad. And then I have a microfiber towel off to the side if we really need it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're also going to take a look at the microscope that you see right here. So this is a Tomlov D201. And so this allows me to really take a look at the card really up close. So right now, we're going to be kind of doing two things. We're going to be looking at it both under the microscope as well as kind of a shine test outside the microscope. Because certain angles, because we can only really see this on a 2D plane. So then we're just really kind of looking, because the big thing that we really have to pay attention to, and I'm actually going to move some of my lights here to look more from like a side, is the kind of the prismatic holographic of this card. Makes it extremely difficult to really kind of find some issues. So one that I see right off the bat, and I'll kind of point this out with my Q-tip here, is we have a little bit of something stuck in that flame. So you can kind of see if I press down, you can kind of see those little spots here. So we're just going to do a very, very gentle kind of sweep across that. And so this one is pretty standard. And so so what I'm doing right now off camera is I'm just wiping off the excess water, because it really doesn't need to be that wet. Best way I can explain it is if you kind of breathe on the back of your wrist. We're going to see if we can address some of those, if they are. And again, don't worry about anything that you're kind of seeing kind of left on there. Since we're looking at it very magnified, it will come off pretty easily. And that, for example, is probably within the foil itself. So another thing that I like to test is if I kind of go over it with the drier end of the Q-tip, if I feel anything raised, that tells me that I can keep going. But in this instance, after that first pass and that not really going, you kind of see it kind of reflect in different angles. It's more on that foil than anything on the actual card. So no need to really tackle it anymore. You can kind of see a lot more of those little pockets showing up on the silver as well. So the next thing is we have a little bit of some indentation here along the wings. So this will be a good instance of, honestly, some very basic humidor treatment. So sometimes with these little impacts here, so you can kind of see right here the tip of my Q-tip as well as here. So 1, 2, and the rest of it is just the cardstock, but these two in particular will be a good attempt at putting it in the humidor, letting that kind of puff up a little bit to kind of fill in some of those. I've done some tests on those in the past, and hopefully it comes out pretty nice. And so that's more or less what I'm kind of seeing on the rest of the card, is these little pressure indents kind of on the surface of the card. So as we kind of go across here, again, we really need to pay attention, because the hollow is really reflective of this light, right? So some of these are kind of getting hidden in some of this holographic, so we really have to pay attention. So a lot of this here on the green section, so that's more of just, and I just kind of already got rid of it before even opening my mouth, but that was just like some white cardstock that might have gotten stuck onto the card, either kind of in transit or just out of the pack, however, but it's just as simple as just simply wiping it off, and we're good. So this one, and we might be able to see it when we look at it in person, but that edge is a little bit kind of folded up there. So again, this one's going to be pretty good at a very basic humidor treatment. And normally my baseline for humidors is I typically keep it at 70% humidity. And then for cards, it really just depends. Sometimes I leave it in, from 20 to 45 minutes. It really does range to be quite honest. So you really kind of have to keep a kind of an eye on it as you kind of go through these. So really that's like the biggest thing. Now, a few of you might be seeing some scratches on the card, and again, I don't do anything that actually fills in some of these scratches. So for example, the neck of this Charizard. So I don't use anything like waxes or chemicals or filler or anything like that. The only thing that I use is distilled water, Q-tips, and that's pretty much it. Because the techniques that I do basically address things that are added onto a card, and I'm not actually using anything that adds to a card, like what I just talked about before. So when I talk about scratches, there's really not much I can do personally, because these are all, you know, the assumption is that these are all going to be tried to be submitted into PSA. So really, upon, you know, the magnification here, under the microscope, there really wasn't anything major dirt or debris that really stuck out. The only thing that really stuck out in the microscope was really just small impacts, was really the big thing. Now, in terms of the surface, we looked at that. So really the only corner that I was talking about, that's why it's easier to see under the microscope, is going to be this bottom right corner. So you can kind of see that folded a little bit. So something like this. So if we kind of gently look into the side. So the nice thing is that green upper layer where the hollow isn't actually peeling off. So this does have a chance to be flattened out a little bit, because that cardstock in the center hasn't really detached from the upper hollow layer. So that'll be a good attempt at doing that. So far so good there. So now we're going to take a look in the back and basically do the same thing. So the back is going to make it a little bit easier to see if there's any dirt or grime or anything like that. But so far, it's really just been the impacts and that one corner. So you can kind of see here. I'm going to try to just adjust the light just a smidge just to make sure that we're seeing. So there is a little bit, what appears to be some discoloration on that edge. So this one's really where you kind of have to be careful, is right now, make sure I'm still using the right one. So right now, we really have to make sure that we're not swiping back down, because we don't want to peel any of that cardstock towards the middle of the card, because that's how you get that whitening. So some of this is already coming off, which is kind of nice. There's a little bit of a stain here that I'm just going to try to spot treat real quick. And really, again, since it's right on that edge, I'm really not going to do too much with it, aside from just kind of setting it there and, again, pushing away, but then lifting back up and kind of doing this like circular motion, just to make sure that I'm not peeling that card in any way. And so that's as good. We got a little bit, it was probably too small, but it was right next to that G. So we got a little bit of that off. But again, since it's under the microscope, we really see a lot that you typically can't see at kind of first glance. So right now we're just kind of looking around the border, some of the OG Charizard artwork, if you guys have never seen that before. And so as we kind of go across, kind of see some, you can even see some kind of some extra cardstock kind of stuck to the edge here. So like right here, right here. So something like that. We're not gonna trim or anything like that, because again, trimming would be considered alteration, because you're actually physically removing something from the card. So we're just gonna keep kind of going down. You see a little bit of these. It's just more of just kind of some slight edge wear. So we're just going to kind of spot check these a little bit. Probably use a new Q-tip at this point. Typically, one Q-tip will go for probably like one, you know, maybe one or two sides of a card, typically, depending on how dirty it is. But since this card, you know, obviously is pretty up there. It's, you know, it's a Charizard. We want to make sure that we treat it with respect, so at the expense of some Q-tips, which is totally fine. So we have some, you can kind of see some more bending here towards this bottom corner. And so what we're going to do, again, a lot of this is that you're probably not going to be able to see on stream, is that this will try to fold over once we get the humidor treatment. So try to treat that. So this one right here, so that appears to be some dirt or something like that where the tip of my Q-tip is. So we're going to see. And again, if you guys are trying to see exactly what I'm talking about more on the top part of the screen, if you hold or swipe, I can't remember which on TikTok, you should be able to see the full screen without all the stuff on the top. So definitely keep that in mind if you're trying to see exactly what I'm doing. So as I'm, again, so you can kind of see it lightening up a little bit. I'm just kind of, right at what I'm doing right now is, since the Q-tip is a little bit moist, I'm just kind of letting it sit there for a little bit and just seeing if I can take a few passes, trying to remove a little bit as much as I can without putting too much pressure. Especially on stream, you really can't tell how much pressure I'm putting on the card. And aside from me just kind of holding it here, once I kind of wipe off, I'm really not putting that much pressure. So you really have to be careful on how much pressure you're actually putting onto these cards, because you don't want to cause any adverse damage or anything like that. So it did get a little bit lighter, but this is something that, truthfully, since it's really kind of stuck on there and I'm not really feeling anything at the moment, that tells me that there's really nothing else for me to really remove from that spot. So that stain is going to be there for a little bit, because if I were to pursue it any harder or any more or anything like that, I'm starting to increase the chances of causing some issues. So we're going to leave that alone. In addition, you can probably see up here too that these corners are starting to get a little bit frayed, and there is a slight bit of discoloration here. And so there's really nothing I can do in that point, because since the fraying is starting to come back into the center of the card, if I were to try to spot check this or treat this, there is a potential that the whitening could get worse. So I'm just going to kind of leave that as is. So some of you might be thinking about, what are the corners? And if you do see something like this, for example, this is a really good one. That's exactly what I'm kind of talking about. So you see a little bit of edge wear here, and kind of that card stock already getting removed, and that inner kind of whiter layer is being shown when it's slightly stained. That's something I don't want to kind of treat with any of the distilled water. You kind of see some of that hollow foil from the top layer kind of peeking through. And so once I'm done on the sides here, then we'll get to the center of the card. This is the first time I've actually cleaned a Bandai card, so trying to be extra cautious here. The techniques are, more or less the same. There's really no big difference as to what I would be doing, but with any new card, especially from a community member, we want to make sure that we're as careful as we possibly can. So here's one that probably be 2 dirt marks. So right here by this Z character, I apologize, I'm not too sure what that actually is called. But we also have one here. So we're going to try to treat this one in the blue section here real quick. And that just came right off. You can kind of see me kind of moving that around. And so another thing I like to do is, if I do have something that sticks onto a Q-tip, I tend to just swap it out immediately. There's no need to kind of keep hold of it. So we're just going to swap out once more. And then we're going to address that other one here in a second. So again, make sure that your Q-tip is a little bit moist, probably about 5%. Because we don't want to soak this card at all, especially with this card having frayed edges. We don't want to actually put water into that kind of middle layer. We don't want it to absorb as much as kind of like a humidor treatment will. So we kind of keep that in the back of our minds here. So aside from that, I'm just kind of looking before we kind of do a quick eye test, because I like to do both, because sometimes I catch things kind of doing like a shimmer test outside of the microscope that I like to kind of go back for. So using both is never a bad thing. So here's the back. So there's the back. So again, so this bottom left corner that I was talking about that was kind of showing that bend was the one that we saw on the front side. And then what I'm doing right now to think out loud, so I'm looking, just kind of verifying some of those claims that I made about those edges. So this bottom edge right here that I was showing as not really wanting to put any really distilled water close to it, I think is still a good call. But I really think that this card will do extremely well, at least that's the hope, in the humidor and going under the plates to try to do our best on that corner. So that is what we're going to be doing on that. So what I like to do afterwards is, again, with the microfiber cloth, I just gently, you know, anything that might be stuck onto it, whether it's just, you know, in the unlikely event that there's some distilled water still left on it, or hair, or thumbprints, or anything like that, it's always good just to kind of take a microfiber cloth and kind of do a quick once-over. And the other thing I also highly recommend is if you have a lint roller, to lint roll yours ahead of time, just to make sure that there's nothing stuck onto it, like a hair, or from yourself, or from your pets, or whatever. Because I have a cat, and yeah, she loves to get into my stuff, so... That is the Charizard for what we can do kind of during this phase 1. So what I'm going to be doing after stream is I'm going to be taking this into the humidor for a few sessions, try to fill in some of those small impacts, try to flatten out that bottom left-hand corner, and try to see how far we really can get. So I'm going to put this in a new sleeve, and then I'll just put that in the humidor for some later treatment. So, be a very, very nice card for sure. Alright, so now, guys, I'm going to take not like a break, but I'm going to catch up with chat, because, again, you guys just got here. I wasn't ignoring you. I just wanted to make sure that I was doing my due diligence before moving on here. How much is that card worth? Honestly, Sandwich, I'm not too sure. Anthony, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. But it's a very cool card. I think it's the first time I've ever had a Bandai Holo. So that was really cool. And so next up, what we got here soon during our little intermission here is we're going to try to crack this bad boy open, try to improve that surface grade. Betty, what's up? Yeah, Anthony, I really love this microscope, especially for like all the grading that I do. I cannot recommend it enough, especially now with everyone trying to, you know, look at shows and try to get like potential grading plays. I think it's a very worthwhile investment, in my honest opinion. It has saved me so much time, money, stress about a bunch of different stuff. So I highly recommend it. Yeah, it's a Tomlov. I think it's a Tomlov DM201, I believe. Oh, we're not out of the woods yet, Eric. We gotta go through the humidor, but that little bend and those little indents, I'm hoping will kind of get puffed out from, because there was a test I actually ran. That was one of the things that was kind of taking me longer than expected, because after seeing some of your impacts on that card, I wanted to test it on a few that I kind of have as like a test subject area that had very similar impact dents, and some of them were able to get poofed right out. So, oh yeah, we're cracking the Shining Zard. My friend over on Instagram, her name is Kimmy's Cards. She brought this to me at the last show after she was wondering whether or not she should try to crack it to try to resubmit for an 8. And I told her, you know what, it'd be kind of cool if, like, you know, because she wasn't too far away, it'd be cool to kind of crack and see under the microscope to see, you know, if we can try to do any improvements. It was a bit hard to see in the CGC slab. But there was one thing that we're going to be looking at, which is right here. I don't know if you guys can see that on stream, and I'll show you guys on YouTube and Twitch if you're watching me over there. But you can kind of see this little bit of a shimmer here, right underneath that Pokeball. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it almost looks like glitter. And so when I saw that, I was like, man, that could probably be a pretty easy thing to hopefully remove, because it does shimmer a little bit. So that will be something that we're looking at. Oh, and Kimmy is here on YouTube. What up? We're gonna be trying to treat that little, what I genuinely think it looks like a piece of glitter or something stuck onto there. So yeah, we're gonna get right into it. So again, guys, since I'm gonna be kind of treating these really kind of sensitive cards, if you guys are chatting, it's not means that I'm ignoring you. I just want to kind of talk out loud, really to kind of check in with myself, just to make sure I'm doing my due diligence, as well as educating you guys as well on kind of my thought process as I kind of go through these. And I guess before I start on that Shining Zard, If you guys haven't looked at the Discord monthly subscriber giveaway, so all Discord subscribers will be entered into a free monthly giveaway each month. And so this month's prize is a Breakpoint check lane blister with the Pikachu promo with a nice fat swirl on the top there. So this is available to anyone that is a Discord subscriber, and you can go to that by going to my link tree, which is in my link in my description or link in bio. And if you want to support me, the cheapest subscription starts at $4.99 over on Discord only. And then once you're there, you can just submit to enter the giveaway, and they're just going to keep getting on better and better. So appreciate that very much. If you guys are interested in that, I just wanted to share that off. Drawings is at the last Wednesday of each month. So we're going to get right into it. So, again, I'm going to focus on this Zard because we really need to make sure that we dial in, chat. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you guys some of the tools. Now, I'm not going to do it on screen because this is actually pretty wild on how far like this shrapnel and these hard plastics kind of fly. I actually just cracked a bunch not too long ago. And so we have, I just have a pair of snips here. You can kind of see some PSA residue on there. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be trying to put these snips right in one of these kind of soft corners here. So like probably like in here or here, just to try to get access to one of these corners. So I'm going to do this off screen because I'm going to put this actually in a baggie so I don't get hurt, essentially. So give me 1 second here. So, let's see. Just looking for something here. Here we go. This should be good. So now, you guys are probably going to be hearing a crunching noise here in a second. And so, give me 1 second. So we're going to basically, I'm kind of talking out loud here. So I'm going to just take a corner and kind of start working my way around. All right, so I don't know if you guys heard that, but we just cracked that pretty good. And so, Kimmy, I don't know if you need to close your eyes or what, but this is what it looks like. So the process of cracking, so we got that part cracked open. So we took that edge, cracked it open. So now you can kind of see a little bit of a gap there. And so that's the gap. So that's that cracked side. So basically what we're going to be doing now, very carefully, is we're going to take a flathead screwdriver, something like this, and we're basically going to kind of wedge it in there and slowly pry it open is the name of the game. So again, I'm going to just make sure, because I have a bunch of cameras and stuff in front of me, and I just want to make sure that I'm looking at the right spot, especially with a card like this. So again, I'm kind of just wedging this flathead into one of those spots, and I might have to crack it a little bit. Okay, so perfect. So this is exactly where I need to be. So you can kind of see that flathead screwdriver right in kind of that gap of that case. So as we kind of go in, we're just basically going to wedge it further in and kind of wiggle it until it ultimately kind of pops out, because these are all sonically sealed. And so we're just going to kind of gently work across. And you guys might be starting to hear some plastic kind of pop out or pop open. And so I just need one little more corner. Okay, so there we go. So now, just trying to wedge this open. And just like that, we are free. So you can kind of see that, and I don't want to tip it over because I don't want to make it fall out. But basically my flathead screwdriver has that big gap in it. It's really actually a really good shot if you're over on YouTube and Twitch. There's a really good angle here on exactly what we want, because you can see it's starting to separate from that sonic seal. So now when I have this open, I'm going to just kind of keep doing it until that top part just kind of pops off, and that top part is now removed. So you can kind of see it is free. And we're going to take the loose card out. So again, it just looks like kind of like this in the slab. You can kind of see it's a little bit too much of a glare on the YouTube side, but that's what that looks like there. And very, very gently, we're going to just kind of have that float right out. There we go. And if we can have this Zard cooperate a little bit, we're just going to do one of these bad boys. Beautiful. And there we go. So the Zard is free. The Zard is free. So now, we're just going to basically just do the same thing as we did with the other one. So here, let's take a look. So this is where we're at to start. So 7-5. So 7-5 on the Shining Zard. So the one thing that this shows is that we have 10 centering, 7-5 surface, 8 corners, and 7-5 edges. So that's that there. So let's take a quick kind of shine test here to start. So first on the YouTube side, since you're here. So some of the things that I've seen so far. So we do have some scratches here on, so I'll kind of highlight it with the Q-tip, and I'll actually turn this off first. Then I'll show you guys on TikTok here in a second, and that's way too dark. Let's do this. And this just turn this down, I think. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm trying to shine it just well. So they're right where the tip of my Q-tip is. So there's going to be like right where this tail is, right by the foot, and right kind of in the belly, there's some slight scratching there. So that's kind of the first thing that we'll take a look at there. And then the only other thing I can see, just from this quick kind of shine test, there's a little bit something above the fire energy symbol, a little bit on that left side. And aside from that, that's really all I'm seeing on the front side, as well as a little bit on that tail. So those are going to be at least the first things that I pay attention to. So for you guys over on TikTok, that's what we're going to be looking at. So we're going to be looking at that. So again, the centering is good. Not really worried about that. We're just going to try to spot check and see if there's anything else that we can address, because the surface is really what's kind of dragging this down. The edges, there's really not much we can do on the edges per se. So the surface is really our main focus of this session. And luckily, from what I can tell, which makes it extremely easy, is that there's no lifting from what I can tell, like on the corners or anything like that. So it doesn't really need anything like a humidor. It's really just kind of taking a double look at some of this. So you can kind of see, it might be a little bit difficult. So you can kind of see a little bit, it might be hard for you guys over on Twitch, but on YouTube and TikTok, it might be easier. So I'm looking right here, is that slight discoloration above the fire energy. So we're going to take a Q-tip again. And all this is just distilled water. And we're going to just kind of see if we can put a little bit of distilled water on here. Try to kind of spot check some of these a little bit and see if that is anything that we can actually remove or not. So again, right now, the first thing I like to check is when I rub the dry end of the Q-tip, I like to see if it is raised at all. And it is not raised from what I can tell. But it is appearing, I don't know if I'm just kind of fixating on it too much or whatever, but it does look like it's lightening up a little bit. But I'll put a little bit more on there. And just do a quick pass on the dry side. So the other thing I'm seeing is, let's see, so we got a little bit of fuzz there. Got a little bit of something up here. So right now, I'm just trying to do my due diligence here to see if anything is really kind of stuck on there. So again, it looks like more of just the card itself, which is right here where the tip of my Q-tip is. So that is just, so oftentimes a thing that you just kind of pick up as you kind of go across this is that at certain lighting and at certain angles, stuff does look like there is dirt. So for example, in this area, those two specks, I thought, you know, at first I thought were dirt, but as I kind of, again, doing that pass with the Q-tip, it's just kind of how that cardstock and some of those dimples of just the natural cardstock are. So there's really not much we need to really fixate on too much. So we're not going to cause any other distress, so to speak. There's really no need to. So as we kind of keep going across the top here, again, I really, for a card like this, I really want to try to do my due diligence. The and really try to make sure that I am trying to look at everything. Right now, my main focus is just the yellow border. So that's really what I'm trying to narrow in on, just to see if there's anything that stands out, because typically that's the first spot that you really want to check when it comes to any sort of cleaning. So you can kind of see here, and I don't know if you guys can see it on stream, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4 possible spots of some dirt or something like that, at least from the overexposure here of the light. So we're going to try to see if we can kind of hopefully address some of these. Again, I'm just really trying to make sure, especially when you're working really close to this outer edge of the card, if you do have something that you possibly want to address, you want to make sure that if you're kind of brushing away, you lift up as you're coming back, because you don't want to cross back over, which could cause unnecessary whitening. So you really want to make sure that we don't do that. So those spots appear to be stained into the card. So you can kind of see, and again, that's really more in this spot as a more different angle. You can kind of see some of these kind of dimples of the cardstock itself that might be kind of even within those grooves. And something like that, you can kind of see this one right here is a really good example. You can kind of see as I pull away, you can kind of see that one line. And something like that, since it's kind of embedded into that groove, there's really not much we want to try to tackle there. Because again, if there is stuff, sometimes you just have to be okay with kind of like letting it be. There's really no need to, again, put more stress on these cards than it needs to be. So just a few quick passes. If it lifts up, great. If not, then just kind of accept it and kind of move on. There's really no need to kind of overstay your welcome, so to speak. So yeah, we're still trying to look towards this yellowed edge here. Yeah, I agree. I think it looks way better on Twitch, in my opinion. Again, some more dimpling. Kind of see if we can treat this here. Again, first we'll actually do this, because there is some whitening here on this, like as we're looking at it under the microscope, you can kind of see some of those edges. So I am feeling something raised here. So with this dry end of this Q-tip, we are going to try to see if we can kind of spot check this a little bit, because we really shouldn't be feeling anything kind of tugging at the dry end as much. So we're going to kind of spot check those areas a little bit. See if we can lift up, and something lifted there. So I'll try to do it one more time. And again, I cannot stress enough how little pressure I'm actually putting onto this card from what you guys are seeing. I'm really not doing a whole lot. There we go. You can kind of see some more of those edges kind of poking up. So the 7.5 kind of subgrade that CGC gave this card initially, you can kind of see some of those whitenings on that edge. All right, so now focus on the Zard here. So these shining specifically are a bit interesting, because you can kind of see that they're very textured hollow. So these tend to hide a lot of issues when kind of left untreated here. So we're really going to try to focus on a few things here. So the first one is that right there. And I'm trying to feel, again, I'm just trying to feel with the dry end, just to see if that peculiar spot is just a part of the cardstock or stuck on there. And that looks like it's stuck on there. So the one thing that I'm looking at, and I'll actually get a new Q-tip, is right at the tip of my Q-tip right there. So we're going to see if we can tackle that real quick. So I'm hoping we can, because that would be a really big win right there if we can kind of remove that part for sure. Okay, so got a little bit of moisture there. So again, we're just going to kind of spot sit that a little bit. We're going to see if we can get that off. And it's starting to go. It's getting smaller. Got some booty dust on this Zard, so see if we can. There we go, chat. That was perfect. So now you can see that that is completely gone. So again, once I get something like that off, we're basically just gonna swap to a new Q-tip. There's no need to really keep it on or keep using that same Q-tip. So right now, just getting a new one here. And so the next thing we're going to be looking at is that guy right there by the base of the tail. So we're going to see it's a little bit discolored. So we're just going to take some quick passes real quick just to see if we can kind of get any of that off. And I think we did. I don't see that kind of yellowish coloring there, and this angle is really nice because you can kind of see these little darker spots that are kind of hidden in these textured shining rares. So the goal is to try to get some of these off here, obviously. And that one's starting to give a little bit, I feel like. Let's keep trying to do one more kind of spot check here. So we'll try to see if we can kind of address that real quick. And I think that is as good as we're going to get. So that must be kind of an impact, not like an impact, but part of the texturing, because that's really, I'm not really feeling anything anymore. So we're good there. The head of the Zard is good. There's actually really good lighting for this, I think. So as we're kind of going across, I'm just looking now at the tail just to see if there's anything else that might be of concern. And that angle, that's a really good one if you guys are seeing it over on Twitch or YouTube. Like right at that base of that tail that I was showing you or telling you about, and kind of like at the belly. Kind of see some of those scratches that I was kind of mentioning in the beginning. Will pop out a little bit better. And right now I'm just kind of looking at the non-hollow section now and kind of that lighter background, so we can kind of see something possibly right here. So maybe just move this back onto the platform there. And right here is where I'm kind of seeing here. So let's see if that's anything. And it was perfect, so we were able to remove that. Which again, anything that we can address that's on the surface, the better. That's the ultimate goal, is to try to get that off. And so that's gone. So we have something a little bit under the wing here. See if we can get that as well. And so like I said, guys, this microscope has definitely allowed me to really take a peek at some of these details that ultimately these grading companies like PSA, CGC, Beckett, they're all going to use this type of technology to really examine your cards. So these are kind of the things that I use these microscopes for, to really make sure that I'm paying attention to all these little issues that might be present on a card. And so when people ask me, you know, if grading companies are harsher on vintage or harsher on modern and whatever, my big question is always, you know, how well were people looking at their cards from before their submission? You know, if you're like extremely upset because you thought X, Y, or Z, because there might be something wrong, you know? There might be something that you may overlook. I know from firsthand experience, you know, there's like a lot of cards that you're kind of attached to or have bias to because you may have paid a premium or something like that for it, expecting it to get a good grade. So you want to try to remove as much of that kind of bias as you possibly can, and really just kind of take it for face value. And that was a big lesson for me to learn, and I just got rid of a little bit of something there, so that's good. And again, if you guys are wondering what I'm using in terms of a solution, all it is simply distilled water. All these techniques that I'm showing today are simply things that address things that might be added to a card, like thumbprints or dirt or grime, the things that we saw that I was able to remove off of the Charizard already. So right now I'm just kind of taking a quick pass. I normally do this off camera, but I think it's worth kind of showing off that just in case if there's anything else weird stuck on there that may have just kind of been kind of floating on there that I missed. It's always nice just to kind of do a once over with the microfiber cloth. So that's what the front for my Twitch and YouTube folks, that's what it looks like on the front. I know it's kind of a bit overexposed, but that's what that looks like. And for my folks over on Twitch, or on TikTok rather, we're able to get a little bit of dirt off of the front. We got two big ones off the body of the Zard. The scratches are still there on the belly and the feet, like I mentioned before touching it. So we do have that, but we were able to get some stuff off, which is great. And right now, another thing that I always like to do is, even though I have the microscope, it's always nice, especially with lighting, to kind of do like I kind of call it a shine test. So certain angles, great, because this is only on a 2D plane, whereas if you're kind of looking at it, you can kind of see it in 3 dimensions. So right now I'm just kind of looking just to see if there's any other bits of dirt or something like that that I may have missed, and it doesn't look like that's the case. So perfect. So now here's the big one for you guys on Twitch or on TikTok first. So that little bit of shine right there, it almost looks like glitter. That was the thing that I really saw to say, like, yeah, I think we can do something about that. So I'm hoping that that is still true once we put it under the microscope. So here we go. This is kind of the moment of truth for me. But again, to not be biased, we're going to just kind of keep on keeping on. We're going to start off in the top right corner. It's more of just cadence for me at this point. Really trying to make sure that I always kind of approach the cards at the same time. So I, it's just habit at this point, and it kind of removes, again, that bias if I just kind of do the same over and over and over again, the same techniques. So it's almost like a internal checklist, so to speak. That's why I kind of do it that way. So now that I got this spot ready to go, now we have the back. So the first thing that I notice is that is a really good shot. Again, if you guys are on TikTok, just to swipe over to kind of get a lot of that bloat on the top removed, because the screen is kind of getting covered up. But on Twitch or YouTube, you guys are eating, because we have, it looks like 1, 2, 3 bits of kind of dirt or gunk on that top part. So we are going to, so that's kind of the before here, right? So we're going to try to remove, hopefully, whatever this is, if that is anything. So that doesn't feel like anything. I'm not feeling anything raised, so that might be that blue kind of removed. But we do have this. So we'll kind of get some of this gunk off. I'm just kind of patting it down to start, just to see if we can get rid of that. And again, I'm really trying to be careful because it is right on the edge of the card. So I really want to make sure that there is no unnecessary whitening that we do, since we're so close to that edge. So right now I'm just kind of leaving it there, getting some of that very, very mild moisture to kind of get soaked up into that one particular spot. And this is definitely going to be a battle of patience, because it's definitely there. It's definitely getting slightly smaller and smaller, but we don't want to rush it. We definitely do not want to rush this. do like a little bit of a roll. So we do a quick pass here. And this one is very, very stubborn because I can feel it. And one thing that I do sometimes too, and we're actually going to do it right now, sometimes just wiping it off with the nail in certain cases, but we're not going to press it too much. So that one's going to be stuck on there a little bit. So we'll try to probably go back to that here in a second. I don't want to get too fixated on it. So there we go, got a little bit off there. So we'll have to keep note of that and go back. Let's see if that's something there. It does feel like something. It is getting lighter, so something just popped off on that. So we'll wipe that off, get a new Q-tip. Let that roll around a little bit. Just want to leave a little bit more moisture than the second time. There we go, perfect. So that's off. And now that we do have a little bit of moisture, we're going to go back here and try to do that one more time. That last Q-tip may have been maybe a little bit too dry. But we'll see. See if we can get that. Nope. Go back to it at the end. We'll try it one more time. But at least we were able to get that one off. So this right here, because it's staring me in the face, this is what I saw when I saw it in person. So I'm hoping, since it had a shine to it, we're hoping that this will come off. So I really don't know. Because right here, I don't feel anything raised, so I really don't know what could be causing that shimmer. Unless it's something specific to the shinings in particular with where the foil placement is, that you're kind of seeing that coming off the back. Because right now, I don't feel anything coming off of there. So the only thing that I could possibly think of would be that if that blue layer is removed, then it's the shining, how they print the shinings must be peeking from the back. That's the only thing I can think of. We're going to try it one more time, though. Yeah, and like I said before, if you guys are watching on TikTok, just how the setup is right now and just kind of the sensitivity of these cards, probably the best viewing experience is probably going to be on my Twitch or YouTube. Both of those links can be found in my Linktree description. So we were able to get a win there. There's a little bit of something stuck there. You guys see some of that. See how quickly that moisture kind of more or less evaporates? That's exactly how, like, this is the perfect moisture that we want to see. Let's have a little bit of something stuck on that end there. Hopefully we can get rid of that. If not, another, feels like another impact that we saw on the front there. So let's see, we have some more. That's a really good shot right there. So let's see if we can. It's starting to come off a little bit, which is beautiful. So whatever was stuck on that edge, that's gone from what it looks like. Beautiful. Like to see that. And it's got some more here. This one might need a new Q-tip, I think. And just for context, if you guys are wondering how many Q-tips I go through for certain cards, this is how many I've gone through so far with just this Zard alone. So we got a good haul. But again, I'd rather go through 10 of them. So again, I'm just getting another Q-tip here ready to go. And that should be good. Beautiful. Okay. There we go. So now we're going on the other side here. See if these are anything. Those look more like scratches than anything, but so there are some things that we're able to remove here, which is great. And the other thing I like to do too, sometimes I like to change up the attack angle here from time to time. So we're gonna let that sit. Let's see. And that is just stubborn. Very, very stubborn. But again, we're just gonna kind of leave that there, because there's really no point in me continuing to attack that one corner with really no perceived benefit. So as we kind of go across here, where is that one spot? So this is where I was seeing before. And I want to actually take a look at it person here, because it's right in line, because I'm kind of looking, it's right in line with where that hollow would be on the front side, where the tail is. And that's why I really think that it is just simply when you remove, or when that bit of that cardstock on the back is removed, that hollow must be just kind of peeking through. So that's an interesting observation, I believe. So you can kind of see how it is kind of shimmering there. My guess is that it's the base of the tail kind of poking through the back, because I don't feel anything raised. There's really not much kind of sticking out when I kind of address that one spot. But we were able to get some more dirt off the back than the front, which is really good. So the distilled water really kind of doing its job there. Again, as a reminder, that's really all I use, is just distilled water. But yeah, I think for everything that we saw, I think we definitely made some improvements, which was good. There were some bits of dirt, especially stuck on the Zard, which was really huge to be able to pick off. Then we were able to pick off a few more on the back. The only thing that we really couldn't remove, because it was, I'd say, a little bit stubborn, was this area, which appeared to be at first glance some glitter. But now that I know, the hollow on the front of these, on this type of shining, will actually transfer to the back if that is removed. The only reason why I say that is because even like kind of feeling it, there's nothing raised, so there's really not much that we can really do there. The other one was that little bit of annoying dirt in that top right-hand corner. We tried attacking it basically 3 times, and that's kind of where my limit is. So like once we kind of hit 3, especially how close it is to the edge, I really don't want to have any more points deducted from the edge, because for the grade that was received before, it was a 7.5, and I really don't want to kind of take away from that any more than I need to. But we did get rid of some noticeable dirt, which is really good. So I think from what I'm kind of looking at, and I'm just kind of taking a quick kind of peek real quick, as much as we could have done, we were able to remove some dirt from it, so which is really good. So we're just going to put this back in a sleeve, and I think that is as much as we can get out of this Zard. So all in all, a really, really big kind of review, especially for you guys, because it's actually the first time I have cleaned a Shining Zard on stream. So that's always a pretty big moment for me to show you guys that. And we learned a little bit of how the foil actually transfers throughout the card, which I thought was very helpful to learn as well. I keep getting the same sleeves over and over again. I need big sleeves. Let's see. Where are my big sleeves? Let's see. How do I not have my big sleeves? Sorry guys, give me 1 second. I'm trying to find the right sleeves here, because that matters at the moment. And they're here somewhere. I know I have them. Let's see if I can find them. Oh, I know they're somewhere. Come on. Well, for now, I'll just put it in here. We'll put him in one of these. Put in one of these pull tab ones. So there we go. So that is as good of a shot as we can get it, Kimmy. I'm glad that you at least trusted me to give it our best shot. That's as good of a shot as we can get. We are definitely able to remove some dirt, which is great. So I'm always super stoked to be able to do that. So, and then we'll even put the see if I can get that label out. There we go. So this is what it was before. If I can have it focus. So that's what the Shining Zard was before. So we'll see. We shall see. Do a little bit of a little photo shoot there. So yeah. Let's see. Will I be at Collecticon in North Carolina? I will not be. I will not be. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just the two Zards today that we were able to process there. So again, shout out to the community member who trusted me with the Bandai, and shout out to Kimmy for letting me review and try to see if we can bump that 7.5 to an 8 from the Zard. It's the best shot we got right there. And yeah. So guys, I think that's going to do it for me. It's a little bit of a short one, but I have a show coming up this Saturday that I have to prepare for. I have a lot of cards to inventory, have a lot of prices to process. So I'm going to be cutting it a little bit short, but I am streaming on Wednesday for grade review. So if you guys are unaware of what grade review is when I review community members' cards absolutely for free on our Discord, and we'll do basically a live grade on what I think your card would get. So, yes, Cam. Thank you. We're located in New York, my friend. Yeah, let me get you here real quick. So one of the shows I'm preparing for, we're going to take a look at a card real quick. So let me get that viewed real quick. Let's see. That was the Umbreon. Let's see if I can find it here. Umbreon. Where are you? That's not it. And then the other one. So you, my friend, want to look at this one. So this was the Umbreon that you were looking at. So let's take a look at it. It's double sleeve, so we have a little bit of some shine that we gotta deal with here first. So here is the quick one. And I can put it under the microscope if you need me to. It's a little bit delayed on my end for YouTube specifically, but that's kind of the front of it. You can see those creases that I kind of highlighted before. We have one kind of going across there. Actually, use this. So we have one going across the top there. Have one going across the EV. Have one kind of dipping across here. I don't know if you can see that. But then the back is actually surprisingly better than the front, weirdly enough. So that's the back. But yeah, it's really just the front that has all those issues on it. We can even kind of take a look at the microscope because this card's always cool to look at. So you can kind of see that one up there. And then, so you can kind of see that. Like probably even. Look at that. Improving the grade right there for you. A little bit of dirt stuck on the ear and already helping you out. We got a little bit of one right there. And then the other one that I was trying to highlight. Like brand new, Cam. Exactly. Might as well be LP at this point. And you can kind of see it in here in the microscope section. I'll kind of trace it a little bit, like right here. Kind of like curved a little bit. And a one right here. But those are the big ones, at least. Oh, it is, for sure. It definitely is creased. It is for sure creased. I don't know if that's stuck on there or what, but... Now I'm like fixated. Well, now that it's near mint, it's going up. I'm just kidding. Um, this one. So since I have to kind of speak loosely because I don't want to get docked by anything or whatever, the bottom number is what you're interested in the most. Would be that guy right there. Which is crazy that it's even still that, but them's the market, I guess. And I also, funny enough, I actually cracked this card not too long ago. It's Vaporeon EX. Set that free. Because there was some dirt on that one too, and I got a 7. How's that one look? Oh, here we go, Cam. Here we go. I know I should have opened this can of worms, but I did it to myself. You're getting the Cam special right now. I think it looks pretty good, to be quite honest. Do a little left and right action. There's really just some dirt on the back or on the front, but it's a clean binder copy for sure. Really, the only problems were kind of just like on the tops there and like a little bit of whitening on the bottom, but. I know, right, Cam? I opened up Pandora's box, man. I know. I opened up Pandora's box. Yeah, hopefully soon, Cam. Over on, I don't know if it's one of the same over on TikTok and YouTube, but. But yeah, hopefully I open up some services soon. I got some other stuff in the works as well that I hope come to fruition that I'm also excited to share with you guys, but. That is not yet. But super excited for the show. Like I said, I have a show this weekend on Saturday, so that'll be super sick to always do, always go to. So yeah. So I think I'm going to end it there, guys. Again, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. I have a lot of prices I still have to update, so these were some really fun cards to process and clean. Again, shout out to community member who purchased the cleaning service on the Bandai, and huge shout out to Kimmy's Cards over on Instagram. Definitely make sure to check her out. She was kind enough and trusting enough for me to do another kind of once-over with the Shining Zard. To see if we can have any shot at improving this 7.5, because there were some surface issues that we were able to luckily clean off. Some dirt marks on the Zard, some stuff in the background. There was some stuff that we simply couldn't address, more on the edge, and what appeared to be in the case a little bit of glitter, but we actually learned that the hollow from Shining, if there is some issues on the back, it'll actually transfer over to the back, where in most cards that center black layer will actually kind of hide that or not make that kind of bleed through, so to speak. So definitely huge shout out to her again. She is Kimmy's Cards over on Instagram if you want to check her out. Definitely appreciate that. Thank you so much. And yeah, so I think the next time you guys will see me will be on Wednesday. Again, I do the free grade reviews every Wednesday. And as a reminder, we are doing our Discord subscriber monthly giveaway. You have to be a Discord sub in order to enter. That is in my link tree. Link is in the bio or description. And those who are subscribers get entered into this month's prize, which is a Breakpoint blister with the Pikachu promo. So super cool to give that away. Again, if you want a shot at winning this, go to the Discord and sub to any of the tiers. The lowest tier starts at $4.99. In addition to the monthly giveaway, you get priority grade review and a bunch of other cool stuff. And the prizes are only going to get better. So I can definitely promise you that. So that is over on Discord. That ends on the last Wednesday of the month. What am I looking for trades right now? Literally just bring anything. Anything and everything, to be quite honest with you, Cam. Because I would say, you know, right now, like IRs and SIRs, like are kind of taking a weird dive at the moment. But I'm always interested in having a wide variety of stuff. So just make sure to bring stuff that you're willing to trade, and I'd definitely be willing to work out something with you for sure. So just keep that in mind. So definitely open to doing that. So, Mister, I have a question. What's going on, brother? Shane, thank you for the follow. Sorry, I had chats all over the place, guys, today. So if I didn't get to you, and I appreciate all of those who followed over on TikTok, that was the one that was a little bit difficult to kind of do at the same time, but I definitely appreciate the support there as well. Question going once, question going twice. The man that has an emoji for a username. Alright. Alright, guys. Catch you on Wednesday. If you haven't joined the Discord, make sure to do so. Follow if you haven't. All that stuff. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me, cleaning some cool cards. And I will catch you on the next one. Peace.